Hi, I'm Melissa, and this is The Book Break. And today we have an exciting show with two authors on a new book called Greeking Out. And I'm going to bring them in right now.
Hi.
Hi. All right. So, Kenny and Jillian, you have a great book that just recently came out. Tell our viewers more about it.
Greeking Out, Heroes and Olympians. It is the follow-up to Greeking Out, the epic retellings of classic Greek myths. So we have two books in the series so far from National Geographic Kids. And these are stories that are based on the same stories or the same kinds of stories that we tell in our podcast, Greeking Out. And this one is slightly different because instead of just focusing on regular, see, look, Jillian's got that one. I got this one. Instead of just focusing on, a mishmash of myths, this one focuses on stories that you might not be as familiar with, or heroes that you are not as familiar with, or maybe it's a hero that you know, but a story you haven't heard about. So we've mixed it all up a little bit, and we've got all sorts of classic National Geographic facts in the book. Everything from talking about the music and musical instruments of ancient Greece to food. A lot of great stories in there as well. Very exciting.
Awesome. And so I wanted to talk a little bit more about how your book is different from other Greek mythology books out there. Now, one, I got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I had to steal it back from my 13-year-old son. He wanted to keep it in his room, and I told him no. So there's some really funny stuff in here, and just some, like you said, unique stories. Tell me a little bit more. Like, for example, there's something about the favorite animal of the gods.
Yes. So yeah, we tried to make this mythology book more accessible for a younger audience. We wanted it to be less historical, less stuffy, something that really relates to a younger audience. And we did that, or we tried to do that with humor. So there are a ton of corny jokes in this book, lots of cheesy puns. And we really do that just to try to make it more engaging for kids. And also because we like to make a lot of bad jokes ourselves.
Yeah.
But yes, so the story about the favorite animal of the Greeks, we like to say that, well, I'm not going to tell you the answer actually, but Poseidon, the god of the sea, wanted to impress a girl, Demeter, and he wanted to make her a gift. And she said that if you make me the world's most beautiful animal, I will go out with you. And so he did. He made a lot of different animals, and she hated them all until the horse. So the answer is the horse is the favorite god of the Greeks.
Yeah, I thought you weren't going to give it away.
I did. I wasn't going to lead with it. I had to tell the backstory.
Spoiler alert. Yeah. But who knew that Poseidon created horses? That's what was a trick for me. I was surprised.
Yeah, me too. I was just thinking seahorses, but yeah.
Right.
No, land animals. Lots. He made the zebra, it was, who knows?
Yeah. The octopus. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what got the two of you interested so much in Greek mythology that you started working with National Geographic and doing the Greeking Out podcast as well as the books?
Well, this goes back to a book series originally from National Geographic Kids called Zeus the Mighty, written by an author named Crispin Boyer. And in this book series, there are animals that live in a pet shop in Olympia, Georgia. And these animals think they are the Greek gods, including a hamster whose name is Zeus, and he thinks he's Zeus. And they think this because the owner of the pet shop listens to a podcast called Greeking Out in the book. Well, when these books were coming out, we were working with the editors of National Geographic Kids books, the Weird But True book series, Becky Baines and Kate Hale. And they actually thought, it would be fun to actually make the podcast that they talk about in this book. So we did. We made the podcast, and the podcast became so successful years later that the podcast that was spawned from a book series now has its own book series. So we've kind of come full circle. And that's how it started. The Greeking Out podcast started. The book just seemed to be the perfect extension. Podcasts and books make a lot of sense, but particularly as storytelling podcasts, it makes all the sense in the world to do a book series. So we're thrilled, obviously.
Yeah. And okay, so something else I found really interesting about the two of you that our viewers may not know if they haven't picked up your stuff yet is you are actually father and daughter. So did you come into working together like you knew you wanted to work together, or it just worked out that way? And give me more info.
Well, like Kenny was saying, when he made the podcast, originally I think it was just supposed to be one season, kind of a marketing for the Zeus Almighty books. And then it became so successful that they wanted to add additional seasons. And Kenny was looking for someone to help write the series. And I'm also a writer. And I was uniquely qualified for this job because I have been listening to this guy talk my entire life. So I know his exact way that he speaks, the jokes he would make. So it was really easy to sort of slip into that character, so to speak. And then, we were just like, wow, this is really taken off. And we've worked on other projects together. And it's just been a really cool partnership.
Yeah, we were able to start our own small company, and we do some consulting and some, copywriting, story writing, content development stuff, and mostly in the kids and family space. But I mean, she's a phenomenal writer. I'm just sort of a storyteller and a rambler, but she is actually a very talented writer. So it was to everybody's benefit that we worked together. And we haven't been looking back since, really.
That's awesome. So there was a couple of, well, I don't want to say there's only a couple stories in there that just really stood out to me because, I mean, they all do, let's be honest. But a couple of them that I thought were especially interesting is I'd liked to read a little bit more about this one right here. Tell us a little bit more about this one.
So this is the story of Achilles as mother, and no one really knows a lot about her, about Thetis. So it's kind of the story of how she was sort of trapped into a marriage and having Achilles, and how even though she never really wanted to get married, she wanted to do her own thing. She loved being a mom, and she wanted to protect her son Achilles from everything. So like that picture is showing you there, she actually took him to the river Styx, which is in the underworld, and dipped him in and tried to get all of his body part covered by the water, which would make him invincible. Okay. Nothing could hurt him, but she held him by his heel. So that is why the one weakness of Achilles is his heel. So, and that's where the phrase Achilles heel comes from. So it's kind of cool because a lot of people know Achilles and the Trojan War, his story, but not many people know the story of his mom, his backstory.
Which I think is weird because I would have held him by his toe. Like if I was going to do that, and then you would have the Achilles toe, which sounds like a medical condition. And
it does.
I feel like it's better. I'm glad she used the heel, but I would have, like, if it was me, I would have been like holding this. That's the way I would have gone.
I can already see. It's so funny to watch you guys because I see Jillian just shaking her head like,
I'm trying to resist being like, see what I have to put up with.
Yeah, it really is.
All the time.
Achilles toe.
Achilles toe.
Should I go? Should I leave? I'll just go. You keep
see,
going.
Now the problem is, Kenny, I'm going to start using that. I'm going to start saying Achilles toe. And then my kids will be the shaking of the head to me. Like,
that's right. There you go.
You never grow out of it. You always got to laugh at your dad. But it works. I mean,
that's great.
That could be a thing, though, Achilles toe.
It really could be. So now when you see somebody say it, you need to do like a search on it, right? And then you can be like, I coined that phrase. That was mine.
My Achilles toe. Yeah.
That's right. Well, thank you both so much for being with me, and to our viewers, you've definitely got to check this out. And where can they go to learn more about you and Greeking Out and your books and podcasts?
Well, National Geographic and National Geographic Kids, you can always go to their websites because they have all the information there. You can get the podcast wherever you stream your favorite flavor of podcast, whether it's Spotify or Apple or whatever. The podcast is pretty much everywhere you want. And keep an eye out because there's more coming. We have 2 books now, but there will be more. Yay. So yes, there's lots more Greeking Out in your future.
Oh, good. I'm excited. All right. Well, thank you both again. And thank you to our viewers. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.